Disney worlds are in danger of being engulfed and lost to the darkness, and our only hope is one plucky kid who can save us all. Nope, this isn't fanfiction written by 8-year-old me, this is Kingdom Hearts. Now, this is an interesting one for me to revisit because this is one of my all-time favourite franchises, with Kingdom Hearts 2 even being one of my all-time favourite games. But truthfully, as it's gone on, my love for the series has had some diminishing returns, let's say, and I haven't returned to one in quite some time. So how will this hold up? Well, join me today as I break down the story, tackle the darkness, beat the super bosses, and return some lost puppies as we dive into Kingdom Heart. Now, music is something that I rarely touch upon with this channel, but I could not, in all good faith, make a retrospective about this game without at least just briefly talking music for a moment, as this series may hands down have my all-time favourite music in any medium, whether it be the title songs like Simple and Clean, or the masterpiece that is dearly beloved. I cannot praise this series' soundtrack enough. I probably won't be able to play any of it for you for copyright reasons, but just do yourself a favour and go and listen to the OST whenever you can. Also, like and subscribe, thank you. So, after our simple and clean intro, we are dropped into the game's tutorial, a fairly simple one with a disembodied voice guiding our main protagonist through his movement, his combat, and interactables. And for those who may have caught my Final Fantasy X2 video, please go and check it out if you haven't, you know that I praise what Kingdom Hearts manages to do with its combat. It takes the familiar, the command bar with attack, magic, items, summons, all that good stuff, but completely does away with the turn-based system. It may sound daunting to suddenly need to whip out a potion or a fire spell in the heat of battle, but the game giving you so much freedom of movement and dodging is what gives you enough breathing room to do exactly what you need to do. It never feels unfair. And the surprising thing to me is, the Final Fantasy series has recently tried to copy this style of combat, but for me personally, it's never really worked for them as much as it does here. Now don't get me wrong, I do have my complaints with the combat, but we will get to them soon enough. One interesting thing I need to touch upon in the tutorial is this fascinating moment where Sora, our lead character, is asked by a bunch of his friends very personal and introspective questions. Things like, what is your greatest fear? Now, these will have no real narrative significance. In fact, they only really serve as a way to slightly change your XP rates. Top answer will give you a lot of XP early doors, then slow down. The middle will be even all game, and the bottom will be slow XP at first, and then picks up. Something you will barely notice as a player. So I find this mechanic interesting already, but chosen via this questionnaire makes it even more interesting to me. So who would have thought a game in which you team up with Donald Duck to go beat up Yargo from Aladdin would start off so intrapersonal? That's not the only difficult choice you will have to make so early on as well, as we are also asked what type of weapon we want to prioritise and which we want to abandon. The choices being a sword, a staff, and a shield, which is fairly self-explanatory on what they each symbolise: strength, magic, defence. And again, I do love this. It's a difficult choice, and one that does come with a lot more consequences than the prior. Getting rid of a sword will obviously mean our attacks won't be as strong throughout, but we can balance that out by picking the staff to prioritise magic instead. So you can already see how this can lead to a fairly nice variety when it comes to replays. I'm pretty sure by max level, you will balance all your stats out anyway, so it isn't like you're only picking a mage class in like Baldur's Gate or something. But the choice still means that you will be weaker in one aspect for a large majority of the game. It also determines in what order you learn the skills you acquire, which for me always screws me over because I typically always pick the sword, which means that a vital skill that I do love using, guard, doesn't get learned for a very long time. You may have noticed that the tutorial area is taking place in this vast pillar with a mosaic of a couple of very familiar Disney princesses, and I just love this blend of Disney in the game. I'll get more into it as we progress, but even here at the very beginning, with all these glass mosaics, it already feels very Disney-like to me, especially early Disney, like Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella. Waiting for us at the end of this tutorial is a final test, with a main staple of the series, Darkside. Now, I think I can sum up the variety of fights you will be getting into in this game in 3 types, We have flying, ground, and giant. Darkseid obviously being the giant. You'll find now that you can lock onto the various body parts of the giant to weaken him and take him out. Darkseid is a pretty easy one to take down quick, but he does get the last laugh by ending our nightmare by having the darkness swallowing us up.
Whoa! Give me a break, Kyrie.
Sora, you lazy bum. I knew that I'd find you snoozing down here.
No, this huge black thing swallowed me up. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't... Ow!
Are you still dreaming?
It wasn't a dream. Or was it? I don't know. What was that place? So bizarre.
Yeah, sure.
Say, Kyrie, what was your hometown like? You know, where you grew up?
I've told you before. I don't remember.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
You ever want to go back?
Well, I'm happy here.
Really?
But you know, I wouldn't mind going to see it.
I'd like to see it too. Along with any other worlds out there. I want to see them all.
So what are we waiting for?
Hey! Aren't you guys forgetting about me? So, I guess I'm the only one working on the raft.
Ah!
And you're just as lazy as he is.
So you noticed. Okay, we'll finish it together. I'll race you.
Huh?
What? Are you kidding?
Ready? Go!
So, a few things that I want to cover with this first main scene. I love the kids' dynamics already. It already feels very realistic. The faster and faster way Sora speaks when trying to explain himself, the competitiveness of the two boys already being shown. Hell, even the plan of building a raft in itself is so childlike, but I quickly get into that plan very soon. I do find it interesting that they refer to other places as worlds though, not countries, cities, towns, or even islands. They want to explore other worlds. Anyway, we are on Destiny Island, home to our leads who are planning on building a raft to leave their island and go and explore elsewhere. Again, going back to that kid dynamic I brought up before, this is a very believable kid plan. Our main objective here is to gather up some of our final supplies by exploring the island and finding them, things like some rope and cloth, and later even some food and drink. So whilst I'm doing that, let's break down some of the finds and training that we can do here. After all, this is still very much a tutorial island. We can start by finding some familiar Final Fantasy characters. Now, they will be a lot more open with redesigns and recharacterizations with the Final Fantasy property than they are with the Disney brand, so you might not recognize some of them right away, like this young girl being Selphie from Final Fantasy VIII. And of course, this kid needs no introduction. You know him the moment he utters his iconic catchphrase.
Hey, what's happening, man?
It's like they cloned DiMaggio himself. This is obviously Waka, and I don't mind these redesigns or uses. However, the last kid we find, I don't know if it's just me, but I just don't like it. This is meant to be Tidus, and why yes, we have a similar stance, we have the shorts, the hair, the colour scheme. This one for me is a miss. It doesn't immediately strike me as Tidus like the Waka and Selphie designs do, but this is just a me thing, I'm sure. So I mentioned that this is a training area before, and that is precisely what we can do with each of the kids here, with Waka being a good way of practicing parries or projectiles. I also like the fact that this training is to build up to being able to take on our friend Riku, who is the strongest kid on the island, and it even gets into the more competitive nature between the two boys as they are both keeping score.
So, Kyrie's home is out there somewhere, right?
Could be. We'll never know by staying here.
But how far could a raft take us?
Who knows? If we have to, we'll think of something else.
So, suppose you get to another world. What would you do there?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. It's just, I've always wondered why we're here, on this island. If there are any other worlds out there, why did we end up on this one? And suppose there are other worlds. Then ours is just a little piece of something much greater. So, we could have just as easily ended up somewhere else, right?
I don't know.
Exactly. That's why we need to go out there and find out. Just sitting here won't change a thing. It's the same old stuff. So let's go.
You've been thinking a lot lately, haven't you?
Thanks to you. If you hadn't come here, I probably would have never thought of any of this. Kairi, thanks.
You're welcome.
Again, I never thought I'd be tackling this kind of existential dread in a game with Goofy in it, but here we are. I love this scene, and it's great early work setting up Riku as a character, a kid who has been shown that there is something more out there and now feels so small and insignificant that he feels compelled to travel, to see what else is out there, to see just how small and insignificant he is. It's fantastic stuff. Day 2 on the island does a lot more of the same supply gathering, but it starts with this moment between Riku and Sora, where they are both trying to decide on the name of the raft and who gets to be the captain, with the winner eventually being decided via a race that they have clearly done plenty of times before. Again, really showing the competitive nature between these two. Riku, however, throws in a curveball by saying this.
I get to share the Palpu with Kairi.
Huh?
Deal? The winner gets to share a Palpu with Kairi.
Now, a Palpu fruit is a seemingly rare fruit to be found, and one said to be almost magical. They say whoever you share that fruit with will become intertwined with your own destiny. You'll remain a part of each other's lives, no matter what. And I find it so interesting that they keep flip-flopping between the behaviours of these kids. They can go from goofy kid plans and races to decide who plays captain, to basically soul bonding with Kairi. Now, a lot of this does come from just Riku, as he does seem slightly older than Sora and the other kids, so maybe this is just him being a little bit more mature than them, but they still balance him out really well with little moments. Like, if you beat him in a race, he'll downplay it by saying, "Hey, lighten up, it's just a raft name." Now, as for today's supplies, it's a bit more tricky this time round, as not only have you now got a whole new area to explore and search for this stuff, but the item placements and requirements are a bit more obtuse. It's not just as simple as, "Hey, I need rope. Oh look, there's rope on the floor." You now are tasked with things like, find fresh water, not seawater, which as far as I know you can only really get from this one spot here. The harder one, I feel, is the few coconuts that you need to find, as even if you do quickly figure out that you need to hit the palm trees to make some coconuts fall, it's only these slightly rarer yellow coconuts that drop that you can pick up, meaning that you may hit the palm tree and then just be left baffled as to why you can't collect anything that falls. I vaguely remember feeling that when I was young and first playing this. So, intermittent with all the raft building, we also have the beginnings of another story, as court magician Donald Duck checks in with King Mickey in his chambers, only to find them empty, and a note left saying that he's had to rush off. Stars are blinking out, and while he's investigating, he asks that Donald and Goofy find a key, with the only lead being to find Leon in Traverse Town. Back with Sora that night, and a storm has rolled in. Worried about the raft, he goes out into it, but quickly realises that this is no normal storm. Now, this isn't like Sora's dreams. You'll quickly realise that fighting these little guys are hopeless. You're only armed with your wooden sword that does absolutely nothing to them, leaving your only option to flee. As we are running around though, we can spot Riku in the distance.
Where's Kairi? I thought she was with you.
The door is open.
What?
The door is open, Sora. Now we can go to the outside world.
What are you talking about? We gotta find Kyrie.
Kyrie's coming with us. Once we step through, we might not be able to come back. We may never see our parents again. There's no turning back. But this may be our only chance. We can't let fear stop us. I'm not afraid of the darkness.
Riku.
Now, I always flip-flop on whether this is actually Riku, or just a trick on Sora or something like that, as the way he's speaking here, there's no way for him to know any of this stuff. Anyway, now armed with the Keyblade once more, we go looking for Kyrie, who also isn't seeming herself. This leads into another fight with Darkseid, and the final remnants of Destiny Island vanishing. Waking up in Traverse Town, we will quickly start to see a bigger threat that is looming, as we can speak with many a survivor of what just happened to us, worlds that have been consumed by the darkness, swallowed up, and yet by some miracle spitting out the odd survivor who has made their way here. And the building up to showing just how much of a threat this darkness is continues, with this quick scene you will get whilst exploring the town. This man's heart was stolen, and it looks so effortless. It's the most horrific PG rated death I think I've ever seen. I really like the Heartless as an enemy as well, from their designs to their variety and their behaviours. Starting out with these common beginner Heartless, I really love how a lot of the time they'll try and surround you and then pounce, almost acting like the darkness itself trying to crash onto you like a wave to engulf you. Now, if I had to make my first complaint, it would start here. Narratively, Sora doesn't really know what he needs to be doing. He has just woken up in a strange, unfamiliar town and can't find his friends. So exploring this town, you also won't know how to progress. You will get teased. As you are exploring some of the buildings you enter, Donald and Goofy will be shown to just be missing you. So you may think your goal is to go and find those two, but no. What you actually need to do is, now that you've seen the cutscene of the Heartless stealing the man's heart, you need to go back to where you've just come from, go back into the accessory shop that Sid owns, and once you leave that shop, you'll trigger this scene.
They'll come at you out of nowhere,
Who are you?
and they'll keep on coming at you, as long as you continue to wield the Keyblade. But why? Why would it choose a kid like you?
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
Never mind. Now, let's see that Keyblade.
What? There's no way you're getting this.
Alright, then have it your way.
And this won't be the only time I can see a new player struggling with what they actually need to do or where they need to go to trigger the next story beat. I myself even struggle in some areas, but we will get to later, and I played this title countless times. Now, as for the Stranger Danger Day Squall, wait, no, I'm sorry.
That's Leon.
As a bit of a side note, I went down a little rabbit hole to try and find out why Squall goes by Leon in this game. I read through a whole bunch of deep dives into how he felt so ashamed and so guilty about not being able to save his home from the darkness that he abandoned his old name and took up the name of Leon, only to then see a small quote from Nomura that states that he changed his name so that Mickey asking Donald and Goofy to go and find him in Traverse Town at the beginning of the game wouldn't spoil the reveal. And if that ain't a perfect showcase of sometimes the curtains are just blue, then I don't know what is. So this is where we actually get the creatures name dropped as the Heartless, and kind of get more of a sense of what they are and what their purpose is. They are pretty much just mindless feeders, seeking out and consuming the darkness in people's hearts. We also have a very simple Chosen One storyline brewing now with Sora. Before we can get any more information though, a Heartless spawns, forcing us to have to give chase. Now, one of the small things that I do like with this is how already the Heartless are slowly getting stronger. This Soldier Heartless is now more commonly spawning throughout Travis. It's a nice blend of story and gameplay narrative coming together. It works story-wise as it is building the looming threat of these creatures, showing already that they have consumed enough, presumably even just around this town, to get stronger. And it works gameplay-wise as we have already got a few levels under our belt by this point, and you do need a bit more of a challenge than these basic Heartless. It's seamless, and it's something we will see throughout the entire game. So, as we are fighting our way through the grunts, we finally run into Donald and Goofy. Now, these guys will be our main party members now, with Donald specialising in magic and Goofy in, well, I want to say defense, because his weapon is a shield, but this guy is no joke. He can really dish out the punishment. They may be our party members, but that doesn't mean that we have any real control over them and their actions. Sure, we can equip certain abilities, or the options do allow us to change how often they perform certain actions, but for the most part, these guys will purely be just backup, and this can be hit and miss. There is a meme in the community of Donald not providing heals when you need them, but the more common issue I find is just how much MP and item spamming everybody does. If you give any of your party members an item, it will be used on you the moment you stub your toe on a coffee table. Other than that, I don't actually have an issue with them. I think they provide really good backup for the most part. So now that we are formally introduced, we get some last minute goodies before being able to leave Travis, magic being one of them. Now, I'm not a big fan of magic in this title. I always feel like each spell just costs way too much MP and deals such a tiny amount of damage. And with that in mind, I always typically have more of a need to save my MP for healing rather than dishing out the damage. And it is a shame, as magic would elevate some frustrations that I do have with the combat that I will be getting into later on. But speaking of frustrations, let's leave this world and tackle what is probably the weakest part of the game, and that is the travelling between worlds. Picking a world will launch you into this rail shooter minigame inside your gummy ship, and it just is not fun. It isn't interesting or varied, it really isn't difficult. In fact, most of the time, you can just hold down the fire button and not move, and you could probably make it through the majority of these courses. Thankfully though, they are not very long, so you will never have to suffer through them for very long, and you will eventually get the ability to warp to worlds that you have once visited. But I can't help shake the feeling that this minigame felt like a bigger deal for the devs, as they have a lot of customization with this. There's countless upgrades and modifications that you can make to your gummy ship, blueprints that you can find to have access to other gummy ships. There is a lot of effort here, but I just don't think it pays off for the player. Our first stop is Wonderland, and the first thing that I'll say is that I just love the world variations that we get with this series. They nail each world design and feel. We also get another Heartless type that will now be spawning in, the Elementals. These little guys are small and very mobile, with each having a different colour that correlate with the element that they will specialise in. Now as for the story, Alice is standing trial for the attempt at the Queen of Hearts' heart. We obviously know that that must be the Heartless, so we agreed to find evidence to help prove Alice's innocence. Now, I will have my complaints about confusing worlds as we do get on, but here in Wonderland, it just works. Sure, you can get lost, and it can be tricky for newcomers to figure out where to go, but I wouldn't have Wonderland any other way. You've seen the films, you know what this world is like, it fits thematically. Plus, we do always have the Cheshire Cat popping up to give us some helpful hints. As you can imagine though, no matter what evidence we find and present, it will never be enough for the Queen, leading to a quick and easy boss fight with her cards, and then this scene. In all the fighting, something has nabbed Alice. We continue to look around Wonderland for her, but it soon becomes very clear that she is no longer on this world. We finish our visit with a boss fight, and in my opinion, the first bit of difficulty you will experience. We are still very early doors. You have no real access to healing ourselves other than the very limited potions that you can carry. And the trickster boss can hit hard, especially when he gets down to his final bar of health and just starts using these homing attacks. His size also does come into play. Much like Darkseid and even Reverse Armor back at Travis, these bosses can tower over Sora and the gang. But unlike those bosses, Trickster can only be hit in the head, and you may think, well, that's fine. You have this lovely big table in the center of the room to attack him from. But no, the game will fully be expecting you to try and take advantage of this, so we'll rotate the table if you try and stay on it, or just flat out take the table away if you try and use it for cover, forcing you to get very comfy with dodge rolling, which will be a godsend in this game. After we send the trickster packing, the gang spots a keyhole, making the Keyblade instinctively react to it, sealing it up and clearing up our time in Wonderland. Now, before we do land at our next location, we briefly have this quick argument with Donald, who, whilst flying by it, refuses to land there, stating that the king couldn't possibly be there. Still wanting to search it just in case Kairi or Riku is, the argument soon turns into a fight for control of the ship. Crash Landing goes in. Now separated from Donald and Goofy, and still heated from the argument, Sora sees this as an opportunity to ditch them and go looking for his friends by himself, with Donald also feeling likewise. Tarzan says that our friends are here, but with him only being able to speak very little English, Sora can't quite work out where, so we agree to follow him, leading to Tarzan becoming our first guest party member. And I just think that this is such a great idea. From now on, each world that you visit, there'll be a high chance that you can recruit that world's most famous character. You can only have them in the party for that world though. You can't take them anywhere else, but still, these end up being incredibly useful. They are typically stronger than Donald or Goofy and come with a boatload of abilities already learnt and equipped. Just remember to steal all the items that these guys come preloaded with though, so they don't waste them. So Sora is already staying in hopes that Tarzan can show us where Riku and Kairi are. Donald and Goofy meet back up with us and decide to stay when they find a gummy block, meaning that a ship has been here, which could be their king. Clayton says that if Sora's friends are here, they must be with the gorillas, but Tarzan has been refusing to take them to them, probably because Clayton is so obviously evil. Tarzan decides to go and speak with the gorillas to help Sora out, finally letting us explore this world. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this world. I do lean a bit more into that camp. It feels like a fair few things randomly happen later on that make you run between the same 3 or 4 locations, but we will get into that. First, let me get into some things that I do like here, such as, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I really like the Heartless here. All mainly monkey themed, with a male and female monkey Heartless variant. I also just really like the world's look. I once again feel like I have been dropped right into the Tarzan film, quite literally this time. I do like the fact that the broken roof and rubble will always be there from when you fell in the intro. It's just a nice little attention to detail. I like how distinct the world is too. We are in the deep jungle, so it could just be very easy for it to all look very samey, leading you to getting lost, but not here. We have the camp, we have the treehouse, the thickets, the hippo's lagoon, the vine area you can swing through, the top of the tree, all of them very unique looking, but still very fitting in with the world. It makes it easier to remember where you need to go and navigate it. We catch back up with Tarzan, pleading our case, but to no avail. Kerchak seems distracted by something. We reprimand Clayton back at the camp, kicking him out.
What am I doing with these imbeciles? Blasted gorillas! I'll hunt down every last one of them! I'll track them down somehow. I'll stake my life on it.
Now, this is where the world starts to fall off a little for me, as you would think that our next task would be investigating that gunshot that we just heard, but upon exiting the tent again, we instead find Heartless bothering a gorilla. So we are then tasked with heading into every combat area in the entire world to clear out the Heartless and save every gorilla. It already feels like such a weird bit of padding to throw in and kind of kills the pacing of the storytelling we have here. I mean, just look at the scene that plays once we save all the gorillas and head back to camp again. It's like the game itself is worried that after all the useless bit of padding it just threw our way, that you may have forgot what was actually happening with the story in the first place, so just replayed the same panicked shooting from Clayton. What is a little bit stranger is that this only leads into a final confrontation with Sabor, who has been popping up since you first entered this world to try and jump you, and someone who has absolutely nothing to do with Clayton, which leads into the Heartless taking Jane back at camp, meaning that we now need to go and save her. It feels like we've already been bait and switched twice now. And whilst I don't consider the Jane kidnapping to be padding, it back to back with saving the gorillas does help that stack up a little bit. I think if they had have just cut that gorilla moment out, have us investigate Clayton's shot in the first place, find Sabor instead of Clayton, comment that Clayton was missing, then see that the Heartless have taken Jane away whilst we've been busy, it would have just trimmed a lot of the fat here and cut down on people's complaints when it came to this world. It can really feel like you are just backtracking to the same 2 or 3 locations constantly. Camp, then back up to the vines, to the treehouse, then back to camp, then back up to the vines, to the treehouse, then maybe spice it up a bit with the visit to the grove before going back to camp, then back up to the vines again. And the backtracking is extra irritating if you can't pull off this handy little shortcut to skip the vine section too. Now when we do save Jane, she actually says that it was Clayton that took her, meaning that he now must be in league with the Heartless, and that the rest of the gorillas are in danger. We rush back to the cliffs to confront him.
No! Clayton?
Not Clayton. Not Clayton.
I have this encounter ingrained into my very psyche that I'm probably going to make the pettiest complaint I think I've ever made on this channel. Okay, just keep in mind how many times I played this title, and also, the last time I played it, I was actually streaming, and I was doing a challenge that I called the Sandwich Run, which was basically a whole load of different challenges like no XP, no equipment changing, no item boosting, all into one challenge. And I was stuck on this fight for so goddamn long. So what drives me crazy every time that I start this fight now is how the camera will always be facing away from Clayton and will always lead to him getting a free hit on you. It's such a cheap shot, literally. Anyway, this really is a difficult fight. Clayton hits hard, has a bunch of Heartless backup in the first round, which can always get a cheap hit on you, and you are just once again very limited with your healing. And even if you are low and do try and pop a potion, you're just very exposed here and are given very little breathing room to be able to pop one. His second phase is even tougher. I always did love this Heartless boss. It's not as tough as it first seems, and you do only really need to concentrate on Clayton to win, but its gimmick, design, introduction, it's all super memorable to me. It's crazy how the OG Disney movie has a more violent death for Clayton than this game does. especially when we've already seen worlds swallowed up and a man's heart literally being taken. Anyway, now we're friended the gorillas, we are taken to where Tarzan has been wanting to take us the entire time.
This is your home? But that means... Huh?
The waterfalls. They're echoing all the way here.
Friends there. Sea friends.
Oh, now I've got it. Means heart. Friends in our hearts.
Heart.
Oh, so that's what it meant.
Friends. Same heart. Clayton. Lose heart. No heart. No sea friends. No heart. No friends.
Sorry about what I said.
I'm shall we go?
Yeah, all for one, huh?
And I do really like this. I love already seeing Sora bond with Donald and Goofy, and I really love how they managed to take the familiar Disney story we all know and love and wrap it around the Heartless. It is my favourite part about this game, and I'm sure to be bringing it up again and again and again as we get into more worlds. But here, tackling the themes of friendships and bonds during a fallout between newly grouped together Sora and Donald is just great to see. I also love how the Heartless got to Clayton because it raises a few questions. Was that actually still Clayton that we saw and fought? Tarzan says that it isn't, and he never utters a line to us in any of his scenes, which I just find to be really eerie. Sealing Deep Jungle reveals another strange gummy block, so we decide to head back to Travis to ask about it. But first, let us detour on the way there to another world. The reason I say this place is only really a detour is that there isn't all that much to discuss here. We want to prove ourselves as heroes to Phil, and we do so by taking part in the games. These are just wave-based fights, usually ending with a cool matchup like in the entry games where we fight Cloud. New tournaments will keep cropping up throughout your adventure, so you will be returning here every so often, and it will have a lot more secret encounters that I will reveal much later on. The only real story beat here is mainly what we get with the entry tournament. Cloud has made a deal with Hades and must take out Hercules in the tournament, but upon losing to Sora, Hades resorts to his backup plan. I remember this fight being such a roadblock for me as a kid. Cerberus's attacks are relentless, and he has very little openings. But with Cure now on hand, we can make short work of the pup and leave Olympus. For now. Back in Travis Town, we then update Leon on our journey so far. He commends us for already sealing a couple of keyholes and explains that it is vital that we continue to do this, as the Heartless finding a keyhole and getting inside is how they seem to have been destroying worlds. He even says that Travis Town must have a keyhole somewhere itself. As for the gummy block, Sid explains that they are navigation gummies, which when installed can take us to even more worlds. He agrees to help after we drop off a mysterious book to a guy in the 3rd district, and also investigate the Gizmo shop, whose bell tower went off for some unknown reasons. So I don't have much to talk about when it actually comes to returning the book as of yet. As it turns out, it was Merlin who we are to give the book to, and all we can do here for now is get offered to practice magic with unlimited MP, which is completely redundant in my opinion. And we can also speak to the fairy godmother, who can turn certain gems we find into summons. These summons being other Disney characters from worlds we either won't get to explore, or ones we get as a reward for sealing the world's keyhole, and I will be bringing that point up again shortly. As for the first one, I really do like how they've gone about this. Not only can we now get characters from worlds we won't visit, like Simba and Dumbo, but they tie it into the lore really well, by stating that these were such strong-hearted characters that even when the world was lost to darkness, they still wouldn't give in. That spirit then fossilized into these gemstones that we find. Now I don't know how that applies to characters like, say, Mushu. He doesn't exactly strike me as a strong-hearted pure soul, but that's just me being nitpicky. On our way back to Sid, we get this scene.
There you are. What's going on?
Riku!
Hey, cut it out.
I'm not dreaming this time. Right?
I hope not. Took forever to find you.
Riku! Wait a second, where's Kairi?
Isn't she with you? Well, don't worry. I'm sure she made it off the island too. We're finally free. Hey, she might even be looking for us now. We'll all be together again soon. Don't worry. Just leave everything to me. I know this.
Leave it to who?
Sora, what did you...
I've been looking for you, and Kairi too, with their help.
Who are they?
My name is...
We've visited so many places and worlds, looking for you.
Really? Well, what do you know? I never would have guessed.
Oh, and guess what? Sora's the Keyblade Master.
Who was a Sonic?
What's that mean?
So, this is called a Keyblade?
Huh? Hey, give it back!
Catch.
Whoa. Okay, so you're coming with us, right? We've got this awesome rocket. Wait till you see it.
No, he can't come.
What?
Forget it.
Oh, come on. He's my friend.
I don't care.
Huh? He's gone.
Riku? Nice going. Oh well. At least he's okay. And who knows? Maybe we'll run into Kairi soon, too.
You see, it's just as I told you. While you toiled away trying to find your dear friend, he quite simply replaced you with some new companions. Evidently, now he values them far more than he does you. You're better off without that wretched boy. Now think no more of him and come with me. I'll help you find what you're searching for.
Now, I hate this scene, and it makes me really hate Riku as a character, but I think it's all due to a bit of bad writing. Riku was already set up as a bit of a friendly rival to Sora, but clearly they wanted him to go a bit further than that, to choose a bit more of a darker path. We already saw it at the very beginning, if that was the real Riku that is, that he was already clearly willing to let the darkness take him there already. The trouble is, they never give him a really good reason to turn on Sora. Even Maleficent's trick here by saying Sora is replacing his friends with new ones and didn't bother looking for him is really stupid. Sora tells Riku multiple times how he's been looking everywhere for him, been travelling to all these new worlds with Donald and Goofy to find them. Plus, does he act like he isn't pleased to see Riku at any point? So why would Riku not only Batman out of there abandoning Sora, but even listen to Maleficent in the first place? He must know she's lying, otherwise he's just being an idiot. You know what I think this really is? I don't think Riku ever actually liked Sora. I think he liked being the bigger and stronger kid that others like Sora would come running to, but he was never actually his friend. I see little bits of this even in this scene, like when Riku is trying to give a whole "you want to stay alive, stay with me" kind of speech, and he's completely awestruck when Sora saves him from a Heartless. I think Riku hated Sora at this moment, because he finally saw how capable he is without him. He's made new friends, he's been chosen by the Keyblade, and he's been to all these cool new worlds doing exactly what Riku claims that he's been doing, looking for them. I bet this eats away at Riku, and although something like this is never really brought up or delved all that much into, it makes way more sense to me that this is what makes Riku choose Maleficent's lies over Sora. I also think that he is in love with Kairi. because it is all he seems to care about throughout the rest of the game. And we have had clues to this, such as him wanting to beat Sora in a race so that he could share the Palpu fruit with Kairi. Despite the fact that Sora wasn't even interested in sharing the fruit with her in the first place, and even threw it away when Riku first gave it him, he still sees Sora as a rival for Kairi's affections. Now our next stop is to investigate the Gizmo shop, and by ringing the bell 3 times atop of the shop, we reveal Travis Town's keyhole, and get a return fight with an upgraded reverse armor. Taking it down, we can seal Travis Town and finally head back out to see what new worlds has opened up to us. So let's do just that, with our first new stop being... We already find Agrabah being a bit overwhelmed by the Heartless, all led by Jafar in search of Jasmine. And once again, I have to sing the praises of these new designs. Not only are they a nice little bump in difficulty, but also very fitting for the world that they are found in. It isn't long before we run into Aladdin and Dan's commendable attempt at the genie.
Comes with a job. Phenomenal cosmic powers, itty-bitty living space.
They give us the TLDR version of the Disney film, and it's back to Agrabah to save Jasmine. I do like the addition of different parts of Agrabah now being blocked off now that you've returned, almost like Jafar himself is the one doing it, to narrow down his search of Jasmine and to make it harder for her to hide. And it must have worked, as the next we see of them is this scene.
Back to your hole, street rat. I will not allow you to trouble the princess anymore.
This does lead into an interesting boss Heartless, this centipede that uses all the surrounding pots around you to add to its size. It's a really fun design and a lot harder of a fight than you might think. It defends itself really well, hits hard, and is quicker than you'll think as well. After this fight, we are thrown right into another as we make our way to the Cave of Wonders to see that he's been corrupted by the darkness, which is a really fun idea for a boss. But I do have my complaints here. It's only the eyes that we can attack here, so you'll first have to wait for an opportunity to get on top of its head to get your hits in. The trouble with that though is the momentum of your attacks and the positioning. You'll start to see this more so later, but sometimes when an attack box is just slightly off the ground, Sora will turn his swings into an aerial combo rather than a ground, even if a ground attack would still hit. And when it comes to fighting on ledges, especially a gigantic lion-shaped ledge such as this, any aerial combos can land you right back onto the ground. Same goes for the ground combos. Sora gives these wide swings during them, leading to a lot of movement and again, falling. So my best bet for this fight was to simply hit once, kill the combo, and then hit again, which is an incredibly tedious way of fighting a boss. And it isn't even 100% safe that way, due to the summoned Heartless being able to spin attack you from nowhere, and the Cave of Wonders eye beams being able to home in on you. Inside the cave, we get a nice use of our guest party member, as throughout here, we can find these familiar looking statues and only some can be reached by a Boo. It's small, but I really like this touch. We soon catch up with Jafar, which launches us into yet another boss fight, one where Jafar tries to play keep away whilst the genie is forced to slowly approach us and attack. It's not very difficult, but it can be slightly annoying to chase the man around this whole battlefield, but that would be your biggest obstacle. And Jafar round 2 is even easier. You can now spellcast his genie form whilst keeping an eye out for Yargo, who is carrying Jafar's lamp. Yargo can't attack you, and even though he claims to now be all powerful, Genie Jafar won't touch you either. During this fight, Jasmine is still taken, and upon us sealing the keyhole, the cave starts to come down around us, leading into one of the worst escape sequences I think I've ever played. Are you seeing this? You see the carpet going from side to side? Well, that's how much freedom of movement you have. This whole section might as well be on rails because there's just nothing you can really do. You can attack, but I don't think you can actually hit anything. You can move, but I would call it leaning more than moving. We then get to this final part, which I really want to dive into. I want to talk about this whole meddling concern that Donald and Goofy keep bringing up. We've seen it brought up multiple times, them either mentioning other worlds being a secret or just not wanting to bring others along to other worlds. They keep saying it's because that would be them meddling in the world's affairs, but I think even that word is misused here, because I think the word is treated almost like the gang are time travelling rather than visiting different worlds. They treat it like they are meddling with time. Taking Aladdin to deep jungle wouldn't be meddling, would it? Displacing, maybe, if they lose him. That makes a bit more sense to me. But even then, the game immediately contradicts this by giving us the genie here. Why are you fine with him coming along with us to different worlds, Donald? Is it not classed as meddling there? And you may think, hey, he is an all-powerful genie. Maybe he's the exception to the rule. But we later get Tinkerbell via the same means. So again, how is that not meddling? In fact, it contradicts itself twice, because Genie is now a summon, but we've already been told that summons are the spirits of strong hearts that got lost to the darkness. So how does this apply to the Genie? I just don't fully understand the secrecy. And when you actually look into the world of Kingdom Hearts in general, everyone seems to already know about other worlds. The villains know about them, and are even actively moving between other worlds. There'll be a character we will shortly meet that knows all about other worlds, and even the Keyblade and the Keyblade Master. Hell, even Jane before was like, hey, where'd you park your ship? And we were all cool with her knowing. There's a whole arse town of survivors and refugees from other worlds. So what are we keeping it a secret for? It seems fairly common knowledge by now, doesn't it? This is the least kept secret ever. A cutaway reveals that it was Riku that took Jasmine, meaning that he has gone full villain mode here. Interestingly though, we do have this moment during the scene.
Whoa, lighten up. I'm as cool as they come, okay? By the way, kid, have we got something special for you?
Huh?
We had a deal, yes? You help us, and we grant you your wish.
Kairi!
Go to her. Your vessel is waiting.
Just remember, this is no pleasure cruise. It won't be a pleasant voyage.
Why are you doing all this for me? What's the catch?
Catch? What's the catch? Silly boy. You're like a son to me. I only want you to be happy.
I seriously doubt that.
Believe what you wish. But lest we forget, I kept my end of the bargain.
So I think this leads credence into my Riku point earlier. He knows Maleficent is evil, knows not to trust her, and yet he's still siding with her over Sora, probably down to his jealousy and ego. On our way to the next world, we get an unexpected surprise. And now begins what is probably the strangest world we will find, but I'll get into that in a second. We first meet Geppetto and Pinocchio inside the whale too, and things start off quite normal. Pinocchio wanders off and we go to try and find him, but when we enter our first room, you'll see just how bizarre this place really is. Monstro is a labyrinth of different stomach chambers, each with a multitude of identical looking chambers that will all loop and get you lost. There's no mapping out this area and no way to really get your bearings, and it certainly isn't helped by this awful design choice. Every chamber is just this horrible looking wall design, or stomach lining design, I guess. It doesn't really fit the world's look in my opinion, and I think it's the biggest miss of the game. It's a shame too, because I really do like the opening area of this world. It feels like you're in the whale here, and having all these swallowed ships and other bits of debris be our source of platforming is clever and well thought out, I think. And to contrast that with this garish labyrinth is just baffling. Not to mention that here is where the combat starts to fall off a little bit for me personally, as the level designs mixed with the heartless designs now start leading to a lot of frustrating encounters. Areas will now have a lot of little small ledges that you will find yourself fighting on, which, as I mentioned back with the Cave of Wonders boss, does not work with Sora's wild combo lunges. Mix that in with a lot of aerial heartless designs that will actively spend all their time zipping around you, playing keep away, or just straight up hanging out in midair, daring you to leap off the ledge and take a swing at them. It all culminates in a bunch of frustrating encounters, whether it be that you're falling off ledges a lot, or worse, falling into below areas altogether, or whether it be that these falls or chases of aerial heartless will typically lead into another wave of heartless spawning, prolonging the encounter when all you wanted to do was open up that one chest. Fighting in this game can already feel a bit clunky, especially when put up against combat in the later entries. There's a bit of weight to it, so little annoyances like this can really start to add up and make the fighting unfun to play. I guess I can look at it with a glass half full kind of perspective though. I can see why they do this. It is an RPG, you do need to fight and level up and get stronger, but it is also really easy to simply just run by a lot of the encounters here. So how do they stop the player from running and force them to engage? Well, bosses are a hard soft lock for that for a start. Some bosses are already no joke, but come at them underleveled and you'll be regretting it. There is also smaller, more natural feeling ways to get you to stop and fight, and it's something I've already mentioned. Chests. Sora will only be able to open up a chest when the coast is clear, so you'll have to fight to do just that. It's a clever way to force you to engage, even if I do have my complaints with them, and I'll save that chest hate for a little bit later on. Back to my hatred with the Monstro world though, because it doesn't just stop at the design and layout, it's also this.
What are you doing? Come on, let's go back.
You know, Geppetto's awfully worried about you.
Pinocchio, stop fooling around. This is no time for games.
But Sora, I thought you liked games. Or are you too cool to play them now that you have the Keyblade?
Riku? What are you doing here?
Just playing with Pinocchio.
You know what I mean. What about Kairi? Did you find her?
Maybe. Catch us, and maybe I'll tell you what I know.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, so Riku is back, and once again, showing just how much of a petulant, jealous brat he is. God, that whole, "What, are you too cool to play now that you have the Keyblade?" line is so petty and pathetic. Not to mention that he is now refusing to say if he has even found Kairi unless we chase and catch him. This is meant to have been the kid that thinks he has done more to help his friends than we have. The kid that's being told that Sora's the one that doesn't care. I also don't get Pinocchio's deal. Riku isn't forcing him to run away from Sora, so why is he? Why doesn't he have any lines as well? It's just really odd. I will say though, I do like the follow-up scene a little bit later on, when even Maleficent starts to call out Riku for his jealousy of Sora.
Why do you still care about that boy? He has all but deserted you for the Keyblade and his new companions, after all.
I don't care about him. I was just messing with him a little.
Oh, really? Of course you were.
Now, Pinocchio is actually captured by a Heartless during all of this running around Monstro, leading to Riku actually teaming up with you to help free him, showing that he isn't completely heartless. I will say that this boss is pretty standard and pretty easy, but just mute it when playing, otherwise you'll keep hearing this over and over again. I also might have spoke too soon about Riku, as we have this follow-up scene after beating the boss.
Pinocchio! Pinocchio! Please, give me back my son!
Sorry, old man. I have some unfinished business with this puppet.
He's no puppet. Pinocchio is my little boy.
He is unusual. Not many puppets have hearts. I'm not sure, but maybe he can help someone who's lost theirs.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about Kairi?
What do you care about her?
So now he is once again changing his tune and pretending that he was after Pinocchio the whole time. Yeah, I really don't buy it. But it does nicely allude to Kairi's situation. It is sounding like her heart may have been taken, hence why Riku wants to study Pinocchio and find out how he gained a heart. It does make sense. We give chase and corner Riku.
Hey! Let Pinocchio go, Riku!
A puppet that's lost its heart to the heartless. Maybe it holds the key to helping Kairi. How about it, Sora? Let's join forces to save her. We can do it together. What? You'd rather fight me? Over a puppet that has no heart?
Heart or no heart, at least he still has a conscience.
Conscience?
You might not hear it, but right now it's loud and clear. And it's telling me you're on the wrong side!
Then you leave me no choice.
And once again with the flip-flop, now you want us to team up to help Kairi. He also has the gall to behave like he has been, and then act shocked when Sora does the right thing and even calls him out on it. Anyway, instead of taking on Riku, we actually go round 2 with the Cage Heartless. This time around, he does play a lot with poison, which can be harder to deal with, and he is stronger, but it still shouldn't be much of a problem. Now, for me, a really odd scene does play out next.
So, Kairi's like a lifeless puppet now?
Precisely.
And her heart was...
Taken by the Heartless, no doubt.
Tell me, what can I do?
There are 7 maidens of the purest heart. We call them the Princesses of Heart. Gather them together, and a door will open to the heart of all worlds. Within lies untold wisdom. There you will surely find a way to recover Kairi's heart. Now, I'll grant you a marvelous gift. The power to control the Heartless.
Soon, Kairi. Soon.
The reason that I say that this is odd to me is that it feels like a moment that is played out of sequence. This feels like a scene that we should have already seen. Riku was just talking to Sora about Kairi missing her heart, and yet here he's acting like this is the first time he's even seeing and hearing about it. Not to mention Maleficent letting Riku in on their plan, despite the fact he has already kidnapped Jasmine by this point. I mean, did he just do that, no questions asked? This moment should have played out before Agrabah, I think. Back with Sora, and our next location is quite an infamous world within the Kingdom Hearts fandom. And from the very first moment of this world, where you have to learn how to swim via this weirdly long tutorial, I hate this goddamn level. I think movement here sucks, mainly its fluidity, especially when navigating up and down. I think the combat suffers here, as not many of your skills and abilities that you've acquired by leveling up are even applicable underwater, so it feels like you go back to the very basics of combat, yet it still somehow feels worse than how it was back at level 1. Even something basic like picking up an item here can be a pain. I mean, look at this. The hit detection here is just non-existent. Some credit that I can give to this world is that it knew going in just how hard the navigation will be. So even from the very first thing that you have to do, go and speak to King Trident, they have tridents on the wall showing you the way. Now, sadly, this marker is only there for this specific route to the throne room. So later on when you have to find your way around, well, good luck. My usual praises will still apply here though. I really like the new design of the Heartless. They are once again very fitting, although this world does come with a fair few tanky enemies that are just there to be wailed on until they spawn or split into smaller variants, and that's not a lot of fun to fight in an already unfun combat world. I also like the design change with Sora and his friends. I don't know how Donald has the magical capabilities to perform this transformation magic, yet will still just spam normal fire attacks in combat, but let's not think too deeply about that one. It does make me laugh a little that Donald, a duck, an already aquatic animal, has to animal hybrid himself into another aquatic animal, and I was also today years old when I realised that Sora was meant to be a human-dolphin mix and not just a merman. Seriously. The colour palette and the dorsal fin, I mean, how did I not see this before? Anyway, we head to the palace, getting this lovely backdrop when transitioning screens. Triton becomes extra overbearing when he hears that we are looking for the keyhole, not that it stops Ariel, who agrees to help us look for it. Exploring more of the ocean with the help of an actual dolphin, we can find this shipwreck, which not only gives us a key item that we need, but also has this cool little moment. I kinda wish this led to an immediate fight, because as it stands, Sora and the gang have no real reaction to this, and the shark is just waiting patiently outside for a scrap if you fancied one, because, well, it's completely optional. Returning back to the grotto with the new item in hand, we get this scene.
Ariel, you've disobeyed me again. I told you not to leave the palace.
Daddy, no! How could you?
Young man, you're not from another ocean. You're from another world, aren't you?
Huh?
Then you must be the key bearer.
How did you know?
You may fool Ariel, but you can't fool me. You don't know your dorsal fin from your tail. As the key bearer, you must already know one must not meddle in the affairs of other worlds.
Of course I know that, but...
You have violated this principle. The key bearer shatters peace and brings ruin.
Oh, Sora's not like that.
I thank you for saving my daughter, but there is no room in my ocean for you or your key.
Now, this goes back to my whole how are the other worlds a secret rant, because how is King Triton already aware of not only other worlds, but the Keyblade and its chosen user? Even knowing what I know of the series and its prequel, I don't think we've ever really visited Triton before, and the game never does go into how he knows all of this. And also, that meddling word is used again. I feel like they never lock in on what they actually mean by this. Triton is aware of the Keyblade user and the Keyhole and other worlds. He is also aware of the Heartless, and by the fact that they are here, he knows that the world is open to visitors and therefore in trouble, so knows what our purpose here is. So how are we meddling? If anything, we are saving your world. Again, they keep just using the word meddling as if it was time travel, like us being here is changing the timeline or something. Us being here and asking you to show us the keyhole so we can seal it isn't going to change the damn future. Calm down. With Ariel at her lowest, we see the main star of The Little Mermaid make her appearance.
You called, my dear?
You're Ursula. Well, I was just wondering if...
It's all right. Helping others is what I live for. Let me guess. You wish to see other worlds. That shouldn't be too hard. After all, your new friends came from another world.
What?
But they had special help. That mysterious key. Now, cheer up, sweetie. You have something special, too.
Huh?
Now listen carefully.
And I really like how they changed this formula up a little. I've spoke about how the game does such a great job of blending the Kingdom Hearts story with the Disney stories that we are all familiar with. Ariel making a deal with Ursula here because she desperately wants to be free to explore and see other worlds, much like Sora and his friends were at the beginning of the game. Ursula tricks her by saying that Sora travels to other worlds via the Keyblade, but she can do the same if she had her dad's Triton. I just think that this is such a great little change up, one that actually works better for me here than it does in the film, to be honest. Here is where you will start to get stuck on where to go, however, and it all starts with tracking Ursula down. All we are told is this cryptic message about Ursula drawing power from her cauldron, which isn't that useful right now. And even with me knowing where to go, I couldn't even get the prompt to trigger. I had to loop the entire world, come back here for it to suddenly work for me. It was really odd. When we do catch up with Ursula, we get a truly aggravating boss fight with her. Not only will she have unlimited backup in the forms of Flotsam and Jetsam, who will always be revived mere moments after beating them, so just don't waste your time, but Ursula will spend most of the fight spamming this impossible to dodge spin attack. As it has already been alluded to, we need to use the cauldron here. Striking it with the correct spell a certain amount of times will stun Ursula, letting you get a few rounds of combos in, which is easier said than done when I've already spoke about the magic issues that this game has. MP is so precious of a resource to waste on any other spell than Cure, especially with just how much damage magic actually does, or how rare the likes of Ethers can be. Not to mention the limited items you can carry anyway, meaning that even if you did want to stock up on Ethers, you'll probably be carrying what, 4, maybe 5? And when I said a certain amount of times before regarding the spell casting on the cauldron, I was very deliberate with those words, as it feels very arbitrary to how many spells you need to cast on the bloody thing. I can spam 3 fire spells one time and stun, and then be lucky to even get a different shade of colour the next time when depleting a full MP bar of blizzards into it. But this is nothing compared to our next boss encounter.
You pathetic fools! I rule the seas now! The sea and all its spoils bow to my power!
And you may have already seen my problem with this fight right away. Not only do we have Ursula's attacks to look out for, but we have this constant lightning strike that will form over every party member every few moments to ensure that you are always moving during this fight. And my god do I hate this. Because it doesn't keep you on your toes and ever moving like I'm sure it was designed that way for, because how can it? We are underwater. I can't simply dodge roll out the way here. I have to slowly turn and move every 2 swings. In fact, let me just list off the attacks and why they suck. First of all, her suck attack. Ursula will try and swallow you, and you have to use your newly acquired dolphin kick to swim away from it. I mean, this move is actually fine, it just kills the pace a little for me, as you can't really hurt her during all of this, and as long as you keep swimming, she can't really hurt you, so it just acts as a bit of a stalemate. Okay, so Ursula can also blow bubbles that semi-home in on you, and again, actually these are fine. Okay, so her real stinkers are mainly just her mouth beam. Due to how inconsistent the mermaid kick actually is, the kick will lock you into this swim animation, meaning you can't turn. So sometimes the kick will send you into the edge of the stage to then drag you along the stage, slowing you down enough for the beam to then catch you. And once you get hit once by that thing, you'll get hit by it every time the recovery iframes wear off, until Ursula finally decides to stop, usually ending in an unfair game over for you. But her worst attack though, by far, is her summoning even more lightning later in the fight, when her health starts to get a bit low. This summoned lightning will surround her before striking, meaning it is yet another move that forces you to stop attacking and move away. She also just has a habit of spamming this move over and over again, making your already small windows of opportunity for attacks even smaller, if not impossible feeling. And you know what makes this whole thing even more irritating? It's optional. Yeah, there's a small handful of worlds that you don't actually have to seal to beat the game. Instead, what we could have done is gone straight to This world is by far my favourite designed world. I love the spooky costumes the gang are all wearing, but the thing that I always admire whilst here is the extra textures on the Heartless. You'll see it a lot more on the basic Heartless we find here. They look a lot more like felt or something like that. I just really love the look here. As for the story, we probably have the biggest incorporation of the Heartless here. We first encounter them shockingly docile, seemingly under the control of Jack. He once used them as part of his big Halloween show. But not happy with them in rehearsals, Jack thinks that the Heartless need a heart to really add to the terror in the show. So he teams up with us to find ingredients for an artificial heart. And here is where the world will start to feel a little bit like Deep Jungle did, in that you'll be quickly bouncing between the same locations. Lab, town, lab, graveyard, back to graveyard to go a little bit further in, and then back to the lab. The majority of the time in this world will be back and forth whilst you find the ingredients to the heart. We do get a change of scenery once our artificial heart is stolen by Lock, Shock and Barrel. Having to chase them now to Ugi's manor gives us this giant new area to climb. Now, even to this day, I can often find myself still getting lost here, especially when you need to find Ugi's boss room. The routing can be a little bit confusing, and that monstro problem that I talked about before also crops up here. Every encounter is usually these aerial Heartless that would constantly be trying to lure you towards the edge and trying to make you fall. Still, with all that being said, I still do really like this locale, and it even comes with a fairly unique boss fight. When fighting Ugi, we have this gambling mechanic in the form of Ugi's dice. We have to deal with whatever is thrown, which is usually just a triggered trap or some Heartless. But then we have to push a button trapping Ugi, raising the platform for us to get some hits in. There is this frustrating thing that he can do, where he'll be able to heal himself and you're just trapped below having to watch this play out. It's cheap, but with the overall fight itself not being too difficult, the move isn't rage inducing. As the gang are walking away, Ugi pulls out his second form, where he literally turns into the manor itself. Now I really love the look of this boss. I love how certain areas of Ugi are split open for the manor to poke out of, like a window or a chimney. That being said, not exactly the most exciting boss to fight. We have to climb the Ugi Manor, finding these dark orbs we have to destroy. Destroy them all, and you win. All the while, you have to take on waves of Heartless that will spawn everywhere and dodge Ugi, who kinda just swings a lantern lackadaisically, sending some embers your way. He doesn't really seem to care that you're even there. With the Boogie Manor down, we have sealed one more world and move right on to our last Disney world.
I didn't think you'd come, Sora. Good to see you again.
Well, where are Donald and Goofy?
Are they that important to you? More important than old friends? Instead of worrying about them, you should be asking about her.
Kyrie!
That's right. While you were off goofing around, I finally found her.
Not so fast. No shenanigans aboard my vessel, boy.
Riku, why are you siding with the Heartless?
The Heartless obey me now, Sora. Now I have nothing to fear.
You're stupid! Sooner or later they'll swallow your heart!
Not a chance. My heart's too strong.
Riku!
I've picked up a few other tricks as well. Like this, for instance. You can go see your friends now.
Do I even need to say any more than I have already said about Riku? How hypocritical can one character be? He has the gall to pretend that while Sora has been goofing around, his words not mine, he was out there desperately trying to find Kairi. The bad guys you work for have had her this entire time, Riku. He's a fraud, a petty, jealous fraud, a terrible friend, and a bad person. I do love this next moment where even after that interaction with Riku, even after finding out that he has gone further and further down this dark rabbit hole, Sora is just so happy that he saw Kairi and has found her finally, and he's just excitedly telling Donald and Goofy. It's just a really sweet little moment that says a lot about him as a character. In the holds, we also meet Peter Pan and team up to go and save Wendy, who is also said to be held captive here along with Kairi. When we do find them, we again had this small sweet moment.
Wendy?
Yes?
Is there another girl in there with you?
Oh, why, yes. But she seems to be asleep. She hasn't budged an inch.
Kairi? Kairi!
This showing that there must still be some part of Kairi still in there. Topside, we bump into Riku again, who sticks this shadow copy of Sora onto us, and I just really like this design. It feels like a neat little homage to Zelda, and I know Link isn't the only one with a dark copy. I mean, it's kind of a trope that's been done to death at this point, but he's still my go-to reference for this. And it's a pretty solid fight too. Shadow Sora hits hard, he keeps to the shadows quite a lot, and can make even more copies of himself. It's a really fun fight. Now, instead of staying topside after the fight though, we drop back down so that Peter can reunite with Wendy, leaving us alone now to return topside to confront Riku, only to find that he's already left and taken Kairi with him. We now have a 2-round boss fight, with the first just being waves of Heartless, and I just love that we can now fly here. Unlike swimming, the flying just feels good. It's zippy and responsive. You're not locked into animations like you are with the mermaid kick, and it's just a big power fantasy to be able to do this. Beating the Heartless and then Hook, we have one more sweet moment in this world.
Oh, Kairi couldn't wake up, so maybe she's really lost her...
Sora!
I still can't believe it. I really flew. Wait till I tell Kairi. I wonder if she'll believe me. Probably not.
And I just love this reaction so much. Sora has such an unshakable belief that he'll save Kairi that he's already planning out all these unbelievable sounding stories that he's been through to share with her. So I said earlier that we had visited our last Disney World, but that doesn't mean it's the last world that we will visit. As with one more gummy navigation block installed, we can fly to where Maleficent has been hiding out this entire time. Inside... And it's not far in that we have this great scene.
Stop!
So, you finally made it. About time. I've been waiting for you. We've always been rivals, haven't we? You've always pushed me, as I've always pushed you.
Riku!
But it all ends here. There can't be two Keyblade Masters.
What are you talking about?
Let the Keyblade choose. Its true master. Maleficent was right. You don't have what it takes to save Kairi. It's up to me. Only the Keyblade Master can open the secret door and change the world.
But that's impossible. How did this happen? I'm the one who fought my way here with the Keyblade.
You were just the delivery boy. Sorry, your part's over now. Here, go play hero with this.
Goofy, let's go. We have to remember our mission.
Oh, well, I know the king told us to follow the key and all, but...
Sora, sorry.
First of all, if my friend ever pulled a line like, "You were just a delivery boy" on me, and then throw me a wooden sword that we used to play with, I think I would serve prison time. But other than that cold line, I really just like how this scene plays out, with Riku basically admitting what I've been saying all video, that he never really saw Sora as a friend, only as a rival that he was always trying to one-up. And I think this admission really does shake Sora, because he never felt that way. He genuinely saw Riku as a friend. It's a heartbreaking realization for him. With the beast's resolve to continue so strong though, it also gives Sora enough to continue on himself, now giving us back control of a now very defenseless Sora though, trying to make it into the castle. Luckily, Beast is such a powerhouse of a party member here that he would be making very light work of the Heartless. We soon catch back up with Riku.
Be on your guard. They're close, I can feel it. Are you ready for them? No!
Quit while you can.
No, not without Kairi.
The darkness will destroy you.
You're wrong, Riku. The darkness may destroy my body, but it can't touch my heart. My heart will stay with my friends. It'll never die.
Really? Well, we'll just see about that.
Ah!
Sora ain't gonna go anywhere.
You'd betray your king?
Not on your life. But I'm not gonna betray Sora either, 'cause he's become one of my best buddies after all we've been through together. See you later, Donald. Could you tell the king I'm really sorry?
Hold on, Goofy! We'll try them together! Well, you know, after one and right for all.
I guess you're stuck with us, Sora.
Thanks a lot, Donald, Goofy.
How will you fight without a weapon?
I know now I don't need the Keyblade. I've got a better weapon. My heart!
Your heart? What good will that weak little thing do for you?
Although my heart may be weak, it's not alone. It's grown with each new experience, and it's found a home with all the friends I've made. I've become part of their heart just as they've become a part of mine. And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one. I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
And I just love how Beast got tricked by this basic Heartless just trolling him. I mean, it just always cracks me up. And also seeing Goofy use speed that will put the Flash to shame also cracks me up too. But as for the rest of the scene, I feel like this is the main thesis of pretty much the whole franchise. My friends are my power. And I know it sounds cheesy, and yeah, I don't deny that. Speeches about hearts as well will just get run into the goddamn ground the more of this franchise you play. But here, it's very much like Death Stranding. Crazy to say, I know, but both in a way are about reconnecting with others so that we all can become stronger. Death Stranding using that as more of a saying about civilization, whereas Kingdom Hearts is more about a personal experience. But I feel like the sentiment is still there. Sora is a stronger person because of the connections he has made, his new friends, his new allies, whereas Riku, bitter and jealous Riku, is alone. And all of it was so self-inflicted. I think it was this resolve that also brought the Keyblade back to Sora also. I think he only lost it in the first place due to the shock and realization that Riku was never his friend. That momentary hit to the feels was enough for Riku to brute force it into his possession for all of, 15 minutes? Yeah, thanks for keeping it warm, mate. As for the fight itself, I really do like bosses like this. I know some people can struggle with Riku in these fights, but I much prefer boss fights like this over the larger ones. Here I can guard, I can counter, I can see my openings in his combos, and it's just a lot more of an enjoyable, I'll bet easier fight for me. Riku takes off after being beaten, leaving us to explore and solve some puzzles to progress. And I can finally get to the worst part of this game. These. No matter how many times I play, I still do not understand how they even work. I always try and push a button to try and get it to land on the chest I need, but I bet that doesn't actually do anything. But there seems to be no other alternative thing to do, other than just continuously spin it until it decides to land on the crate. I hate them. They suck. And if anybody knows how to actually nail landing on the chest first time, let me know below. And whilst I'm talking small grievances I have with this world, let's talk actually navigating it. because there's a weird blend of the castle aesthetics along with this almost futuristic industrial thing going on. There's barriers everywhere, elevators that work via this electrical rail, and just speaking on that actually, they can just go on for so goddamn long sometimes. I mean, look at this. And what's worse is that this is just for a single chest. So right back down we go. And even better, don't know if you spotted that there, but there's actually a split in the rails, meaning that if you find the switch somewhere in the world and return here, well, you can ride this long ass elevator all the way back up to grab yet another chest, to then slowly ride it back down again. It is not fun exploration, and the world is just littered with these. Whilst we are chasing Riku, we see a short scene in which a figure from the very beginning of the game appears to him, offering him more power, so long as he gives more into the darkness, and as we'll soon see, is an offer that Riku gladly accepts. First, we have to deal with Maleficent though. Maleficent needs to teach us some magic, because she has some lethal spells during this encounter. This portal that she can open, where comets will shoot out from, can be so hard to dodge due to just how unpredictable they are, and she can spam this as it is her main line of defense. But it is nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to her next phase.
Do you need some help?
Riku!
Is that?
Yes, a Keyblade. But unlike yours, this Keyblade holds the power to unlock people's hearts. Allow me to demonstrate. Behold! Now, open your heart. Surrender it to the darkness. Become darkness itself!
This is it. This power! Darkness. The true darkness!
Dragon Maleficent is no joke. I find her to be by far the hardest boss in the entire game. She is quick, hits like a truck, and dominates the entire battlefield with her fire breathing and the shockwave she makes when taking any step. She'll also summon these sparks of fire that will eventually start seeking you out, and I do not know how I ever managed to dodge these as a kid because I was having such an issue with them. My best plan of attack is to move her when she breathes fire so that you don't have to deal with those flames, and then take that opening when she stops stomping about to land some hits in of your own. Of course, your party members won't be able to dodge any of her attacks, so you will be on your own this entire fight. Good luck. With the dragon slain, all that's left now is to face Riku.
Kairi! 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 Open your eyes!
It's no use. That girl has lost her heart. She cannot wake up.
What? You're not Riku?
The keyhole cannot be completed, so long as the last Princess of Heart still sleeps.
The princess? Kairi's a princess?
Yes. And without her power, the keyhole will remain incomplete. It is time she awakened.
Whoever you are, let Riku go! Give him back his heart!
But first, you must give the princess back her heart.
What's...
Don't you see yet? The princess's heart is responding. It has been there all along. Kairi's heart rests within you.
Kairi's inside me?
I know all that there is to know.
Tell me, who are you?
It is I, Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness. I shall release you now, princess. Complete the keyhole with your power. Open the door. Lead me into everlasting darkness.
Sora!
Forget it. There's no way you're taking Harry's heart.
So the boss fight is just more of the same of what we just had with him, if just a little bit harder. So instead, I'm just going to talk about these revelations. Starting with Kyrie's heart. I love how this has been foreshadowed throughout the entire game. Moments like Sora recognizing Hollow Bastion, which as it turns out is where Kyrie was born, making her a Final Fantasy character, I think. The next is the Ansem reveal. Now, his name has been constantly brought up. His reports have been how Leon and co even found out about the Heartless. He was also their leader before their world was engulfed and they had to flee to Traverse Town. He has been built up via name only really well, only to then be revealed that it seems like even he has succumbed to the darkness and has now taken control over Riku. I make quick work of Riku round 2 to get this scene.
Riku!
Sora, yuck!
The keyhole! It won't work! The keyhole's not finished yet!
What can we do?
Maybe we gotta go wake Kyrie up.
I think you're right. If we can free her heart. But how? A keyblade that unlocks people's hearts. I wonder.
Sora? Sora! Hold on!
No, wait!
And with Sora's sacrifice, all the princesses' hearts are returned to them, including Kyrie's. Unfortunately, the keyhole can't be sealed now with Sora gone. We then take control of one of the basic Heartless to give chase to Kyrie and the others. And again, I will always sing the praises of these designs, especially this base design. It is so simple yet so effective, and I just love these little guys. Catching up with Kyrie, we get this scene.
Confounded Heartless! Get lost, will ya?
Sora? Is that you?
Uh-oh!
This time I'll protect you. Sora!
Kyrie!
Kyrie, thank you.
And just like that, our boy is back. And what more can I say about this scene other than, well, it's just so sweet, isn't it? It's so nice and satisfying to finally see these two reunited. It's not all sweet though. We have had to momentarily retreat back to Traverse Town, knowing that we do have to return to Hollow Bastion, as until that keyhole is sealed, Heartless will continue to flood out from that world. And we do see the results of that already, as we are already seeing all those strong variants of Heartless back at Hollow Bastion follow us here, and in just about every other world too, which is such a great way of using the escalating threat of the narrative to help us with our RPG leveling and that gameplay difficulty. So it is back to Hollow Bastion we go, and as we fight our way back through the Heartless to where the keyhole was, we can even run into the now awakened Princesses of Hearts, who say that they stayed there to try and keep the darkness at bay, but they can't do much else. The keyhole needs sealing, so in we go. And I swear, get used to seeing this next boss, because my god does the game love to recycle him going forward. The Behemoth, a big hulking, well, you know, who we have to climb to hit its one weak spot, the horn. You think after beating this guy and sealing the final keyhole that all will be well, but the princesses say that he has merely weakened the darkness, and the source of them must still lie with Ansem in another world. Before leaving though, Leon and the gang give their heartwarming goodbyes, telling Sora that once he defeats the darkness, all worlds that have been engulfed will return, meaning that all those taken by the darkness and even made refugees by it will also return. But it also means that all the worlds will become isolated from one another once more, as the only reason we've been able to travel between worlds is that the Heartless weakened the walls that kept them all separated in the first place. So this really is goodbye. Still, Sora knows what he must do, and we set off to the final world. I love this world so much. It is such a great idea and design. The end of the world. An abyss made up from the left behind fragments of worlds that have been consumed by the darkness. It's eerie, it's haunting, and it seems to stretch on for miles, really showing how many worlds the Heartless have already taken. This is also where we'll be facing the toughest Heartless as well, these angels and devil looking Heartless, and also behemoths. Plenty of behemoths. Yeah, I told you that they love to recycle that one boss. Now, there won't be all that much I can really discuss about this world. Even if I do like it, it kind of just acts like a final gauntlet before our final bosses. We fight, and we fight some more, until reaching our first of many boss fights here. This is such a cool pull from the Disney vaults. Chernabog himself from Fantasia. Now he does play out a little bit like the Ursula fight. Even if we are flying this time, the flying just isn't as zippy and free flowy as it is in Neverland. It feels like the speed has been taken down a little and we are a lot more restricted with it. That being said, at least this guy doesn't have that annoying lightning move though. And thank God for that. I mean, I sure would hate to face any other boss with a move like that. Yeah, that really would suck. So once we beat the devil, we move on to the final room, which obviously has to start with our fourth behemoth boss fight, before we take on a gauntlet of the strongest Heartless, which will open the door back to Destiny Islands, where our showdown with Ansem begins.
Take a look at this tiny place. To the heart-seeking freedom, this island is a prison, surrounded by water. And so this boy sought out to escape from his prison. He sought a way to cross over into other worlds, and he opened his heart to darkness.
Riku!
Don't bother. Your voice can no longer reach him where he is. His heart belongs again to darkness. All worlds begin in darkness, and all so end. The heart is no different. Darkness sprouts within it. It grows, consumes it. Such is its nature. In the end, every heart returns to the darkness whence it came. You see, darkness is the heart's true essence.
That's not true! The heart may be weak, and sometimes it may even give in. But I've learned that deep down there's a light that never goes out.
Imagine getting into a philosophy debate on what the heart is with, what, a 10-year-old boy? Ansem is such a joke. Sadly though, this boss fight is not. The biggest threat being this one move his guardian can do, where he will go to possess Sora, and when he does so, will freeze a lot of your attacks, and even your dodging and jumping, all the while doing constant damage to you, whilst Ansem is also on the attack. It will destroy you if you are not careful, and it is made even harder in round 2 when you have to face him solo. But you didn't think he was done there, did you?
Behold the endless abyss. Within it lies the heart of all worlds. Kingdom Hearts. Look as hard as you are able. You'll not find even the smallest glimmer of light. From those dark depths are all hearts born. Even yours. Darkness conquers all worlds!
This gigantic heartless looking ship that Ansem is now fused to is a gauntlet. It is waves upon waves of a really difficult boss fight, starting with you solo fighting Ansem himself whilst he swings wildly at you, heartless at being spawned, and of course, you can't have a boss like this without some sort of BS attack. This time it's lasers that will spawn camp you, not lightning. And I swear these are just that annoying ass attack but tenfold, because at least it felt like you could dodge the lightning and it still gives you an opening for an attack or to heal. These lasers though, they will get to a point where they will just not stop, and good luck ever finding a window to attack or heal. Eventually making it past him though opens up the rest of the ship's body. Taking a part at a time, we will beat the outside portion before going inside of it to not only free a party member, but to hit its core. Rinse and repeat this 3 times, and you'll get to face Ansem's main body again, where the lasers are now just constant, and he can also create a black hole that will pretty much just one-shot you. Yeah, like I said, this boss is just no joke, but persevere and you will get this ending.
It is futile. The Keyblade alone cannot seal the door to darkness. Kingdom Hearts! Fill me with the power of darkness! Supreme darkness!
You're wrong. I know now, without a doubt. Kingdom Hearts is light.
Light! But why?
Come on!
Whoa! Stop staring and keep pushing! Huh?
I can't.
Don't give up! Come on, Sora! Together we can do it!
Okay.
Your Majesty!
Now, Sora, let's close this door for good.
Close that trap!
But...
Don't worry. There will always be a door to the light.
Sora, you can trust King Mickey.
Now! They're coming!
Donald, Goofy, thank you.
Take care of her.
Not to knock a sweet moment but I still don't know why Riku tries to help by standing on the other side of a door. That really isn't helping. Stand next to Sora and push. Now the bittersweet ending doesn't stop there, but I can't play that part due to a certain banger being replayed. But Sora says goodbye to Kairi as he decides to stay behind to go and save Riku, and that is Kingdom Hearts. But only story. There's still plenty to do in this game if you want to go for full completion, so let's talk about some of it. Starting out at the bottom for me, the chests. Now these aren't really a requirement for completion, however a collectible is found inside them, the lost 101 Dalmatians, so you will have to track down a lot of these if you want to find all the puppies. The trouble for me though is that the chests suck. I've already spoke about how it can become frustrating when encountering the Heartless, as it'll always be multiple waves you have to fight, and most of the time that wave can lure you close enough to trigger another wave, which will then spawn even more waves, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And imagine doing all that fighting, to finally clear a room, to get to that one chest that you've been dying to open, just to receive some materials for your gummy ship. And I'm sorry, but I just do not care about that mechanic, and I've yet to find a soul who does. Yet these materials will become the majority of what you find inside chests. You'll be lucky to find some puppies, or an item, or even a rare crafting ability for synthesizing, which, yes, is also another thing that you can be working towards for completion. As back at Traverse Town, the Moogles will eventually open up this shop, where materials dropped from Heartless can be turned into strong accessories, items, and eventually even the ultimate weapon, the strongest Keyblade in the game. Going back to the puppies for a second, can you guess what you get for returning all the Dalmatians? Okay, so it's not all gummy materials. You do get some useful items and even some spells. One of those key items even being a torn page, which takes me on to our next completionist criteria. You see, I lied before. Neverland wasn't the last Disney World that you can visit. Yep, the book you return to Merlin is actually a Winnie the Pooh book, and you need to find all the torn pages to restore 100 Acre Woods to completion. Each page will be a new area of the woods, be it Pooh's house or Rabbit's house, and it is all Heartless free. Instead, what we do here are simply just play out mini games. Really simple mini games, like stopping Tigger from bouncing on some carrots, a mini game that doesn't work all that well, or swinging Pooh on a swing, which mechanically is a bit complicated also, and I never really knew what I was doing with this one. You have a few turns to basically build up Pooh's momentum before he finally goes flying off the swing, and the aim of the game is to make him land on a pile of sticks that contains Eeyore's lost tail. But I'm just never clear on how to actually nail this. I just wing it every time. As well as simple mini games, the world also does feel so damn slow. I know it's meant to be relaxed and it's a really nice chilled out world, but there's relaxed and then there's annexed. I mean, just look at every tutorial section we have with Owl. He's just so painfully slow with his movements and explanations, and can really make a replay of this world feel like such a chore to get through. I'm glad that this was a bonus world tied to collectibles, because I would really skip this one if I was you, despite how sickeningly sweet and charming the world is. Now, what RPG would be complete without a couple of secret bosses, eh? So let's tackle them next. Starting in Agrabah, where we can talk to Carpet, and take a ride into the desert where we will encounter this. Now, this guy is no joke. He has two forms, one that seals your magic until you break his orbs, making him vulnerable to attacks, and the other that blocks attacks with a force field that you can only take down via magic. It's just a really solid boss fight in my opinion. Great challenge and a really cool gimmick to a fight. much like our second secret boss, as back in Neverland, we can talk to Tinkerbell, who will take us to the clock tower where this guy is waiting for us. And I actually think the Phantom is the toughest secret boss found in the game. Yes, even harder than him, as it is all magic focus. Starting out with his first attack, which will cast doom on the entire party. You can slow this down by casting stop on the clock tower, which is such a fantastic idea. But then we get into how to actually fight Phantom. Phantom has an orb that will keep changing colours after every couple of hits. These colours will determine how you can actually damage him. Red for fire, yellow for thunder, etc, etc, which basically just boils down to this war of nutrition with him. What will wear down first? The clock's timer, our limited items for our limited MP bar, or the Phantom? It's what makes this fight so difficult in my opinion, and one that you really need to prepare well for, but it is still such a fantastic fight. And lastly, returning to the Colosseum, we can find a couple of secret cups that we can fight in. With the first one being this great fight with the Ice Titan, a fight in which you'll have to be on the back foot the entire time, basically deflecting a lot of his attacks back at him to whittle him down. And then last but not least, we have this. As you can imagine, Sephiroth is no joke. He can easily be considered the hardest boss in the entire game. Even at max level, he will take you down quick, with a lot of stupid strong attacks, and even a fun little move he can pull off that will drop your HP to 1 and wipe out your entire MP bar. The fight is just relentless as well, with form after form after form, each with insane attacks that will keep you on your toes. They really did Sephiroth some service here. It is so cool to have him included, and even better with him feeling like the final challenge to overcome. And again, that is Kingdom Hearts. And I have to say, I still absolutely adore this game. Sure, it has aged a little bit. The weight of Sora's movements and attacks are a lot more sluggish than what you'll find in later entries, but for me, the story is still very solid. The blend of Disney, Final Fantasy, and this original story of Sora is fantastic. Maybe even controversial to say, but it's the best done in the series. But I'll have to save that conversation for another time. Thank you all for watching and for making it this far. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. It helps with the channel more than you will ever know. And if you want to continue talking Kingdom Hearts, then please do so below. I'm always down to chat with you all in the comments about games. Until next time though, take care.